Let's do this.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Weeknights. You know what we do here? 5 days a week, and we're here to do it. Here to do the thing. Get it? Oh, all right. All the way back. Why not?
Why not?
All right. I'm here with my dancing co-host.
Dancing Dash.
Oh,
Dancing D.
a new alias every day. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right. That's what you're sticking with? Dancing D? All right. No problem.
That's where I'm at today.
I got it. All right. Well, we'll dance right into the topics in just a second. And I am JD, aka He Who Pods.
Yes,
I
you
got the
are.
specs on for our first topic
Yeah.
because I want to read a little something, something.
Okay. We jumping right in.
Right in. Let's not waste no time today. So there's a show on Netflix called Griselda,
Mm-hmm.
and Sofia Vergara is the person who is the star of the show, and
Mm-hmm.
she has, I believe, an executive producer credit as well.
Yes.
Well, Griselda, the real life woman
Mm-hmm.
has a son. I guess we should explain what the show is, right? It's about a drug lord. It's about a drug lord named Griselda Blanco,
Mm-hmm.
and it says here Sofia Vergara and Netflix are being sued by the son of Griselda Blanco over their portrayal of the late Colombian drug lord in a new limited series. So that's the lawsuit that's happening. Griselda Blanco's son is suing her and Netflix
Interesting.
over the show. Yeah, I thought it was interesting, and more so, I thought it was interesting because off pod, you and I have discussed multiple times
Mm-hmm.
how these shows work and like how does this go behind the scenes when someone who has a famous story or is popular and they do these like reenactment shows, limited series
Yeah.
about them. We've discussed that a lot off pod, and we've always wondered like how does this go? Do they get paid? Do they not get paid? Is permission granted? Is permission not granted? Do you need permission? And we have not always been able to find those details about the shows. It's actually the opposite. We're often not able to find any details. And so there are some details here that I think are interesting and we can kind of discuss.
Yeah. So yeah. It's always a toss up because some of them do get paid for
Right.
their story. Like, this is not necessarily a, a reenactment, but Billy McFarland, um, who who is probably most infamously known. He's infamously known for a lot, but in recent years, the Fire Festival.
Yep.
I believe Billy was paid to do those documentaries that he was a part of because he was very much a part of the documentaries.
Right.
And then there was the story, now something more similar to the Griselda thing, was the story of Anna Delvey. Anna Delvey was the one who pretended she was rich and was like trying to live a social lifestyle
Right.
and kind of got in over her head
And succeeded.
and racked up a bunch of hotel bills and things like that and landed herself in jail. But she was paid by Netflix.
Oh, okay.
In fact, even she can't touch the money, but she was paid by Netflix. So it really just depends, which then makes you think, well, I guess it's not that weird that he decided to sue if they
Right.
didn't
And
really try to
so,
involve him.
right. So, he's basically saying that Netflix and Sophia didn't have any permission. They didn't speak with the family. They didn't pay them, etc.
Yeah.
What I thought was more interesting was the response that was publicly given. So it says here, Eric Newman, creator and executive producer of Griselda, told Today.com, quote, I dealt with similar suits from Pablo Escobar, his family, during the making of Narcos. I
Mhm.
tend not to think much about them. It just feels a little bit unsurprising and kind of comes with the territory.
Mhm.
And I thought that was really interesting. What's more interesting is uh, there's a lawyer who said something that I thought was prevalent here. And the lawyer is Albert Soler, a partner with NYC based law firm. Oh, who cares? I don't care about that part. But he said to Fox News Digital that these type of lawsuits are rather common. The same types of suits took place in connection with various shows depicting the late Pablo Escobar. The main issue is that family members and the estates want to protect their loved ones from unflattering depictions and profit from their own projects and books, for example.
Mhm.
He went on to say, however, and this is the part I think is the most interesting. However, a producer typically does not need permission from the subjects
Right.
of their estates for these types of projects. Nonetheless, obtaining life story rights is always the best practice in these situations.
Right.
And so,
Oh, sorry.
well, he just kept going, and it's more of what we're saying. So he says, when the subject of a show or documentary is a public figure, like Griselda Blanco, there are fewer protections, and the First Amendment offers protection for shows of this type that portray Griselda and her life. That's what I thought was really interesting. That they're basically saying, well, if you're a public figure, we could do whatever.
Yeah. I could do a documentary about Beyonce, and it would be. I mean, she would. I think she has lots of things in place to make sure we don't make documentaries about her. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, if I wanted to make something, I could create it, and maybe she's not the best example, but just think about somebody who's a lot more public, like I don't know, Mayor Adams, Mayor of New York. I make a documentary about him. He could get mad. He could sue me for defamation if I put things in there that he feels. Um,
Or unsavory.
that slanders his character, or if I say things that are unfounded or that he hasn't been convicted of, or whatever the case may be, right? But I could do it, and it wouldn't. I mean, what would be? There probably wouldn't be a whole lot of repercussions to doing something like that.
Right.
But so I think what it comes down to is that it's more of a question of your ethics when you're creating. Um,
Hmm.
and is it that you value having that blessing from the estate or from the person? Or maybe you don't get the blessing, and then what do you do? Do you
Right.
continue to move forward with the project, or do you not? Um, I think something about being a creative is curiosity. And I think that's probably what leads a lot of people to write stories about people that maybe they didn't know, but maybe they're fascinated by their story or whatever the case may be. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I get wanting your piece of the pie,
Hmm.
or I get wanting to control the narrative. If I knew
Right.
that somebody was going to tell a negative story about, I mean, I don't know how you control the narrative on a drug lord. I'm a little confused because when you said that, when you said, they don't want negative, negative stories about them, I'm like,
Right.
you're a drug lord. So how does that work exactly?
Right.
But but of course, wouldn't I want to control the narrative if I felt like someone was going to go and say heinous things about me and it was going to be out there in the public? And people who are watching, lay people don't really try to decide the difference between what's real and what's not.
No, no, of
Most
course
people
not.
just watch it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Dion did that,"
Right.
like so. I need to say my name, but so 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 it's kind of like, I get it, but also at the same time, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You know?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. We've discussed this a lot off pod.
Yeah.
More and more of these types of shows have been coming up, and I
Mhm.
thought that was really interesting that we have both a creator speaking on it finally and an attorney speaking on about it. And this is a business matter, so this is actually
Yeah.
I was actually reading from Fox Business section.
Mhm.
So I think it's really interesting. I think it's a twofold conversation. I see the creator side of, hey, I kind of want to discuss these things and, you know, bring things to light or even create stories around this person,
Yeah.
this public figure. But I also see the other side where it's like, well, this is a person, sure, but they still have a legacy, they still have a family, they still have kids, and people want to get paid. So
Right.
I guess as far as the business goes, I guess it depends on what you think is more valuable. Is it more valuable to do the show or movie and risk the lawsuit, or is it more valuable to pay them out front and then not have anything to worry about?
But
And I
I,
guess that depends on the network putting the show out, the people who created it, the person who has the story and what their lineage has left, because it may be like, oh yeah, they got an old uncle and that's it. We're not gonna pay the old uncle. But maybe they got, the Brady Bunch out there and you want to make sure you got permission from the Brady Bunch.
and the person with the story will not always say yes. And I
Right.
think that's where it's like,
You run the risk.
yeah, and
Mhm.
because if you ask them and then they say no,
Right.
then now you're having to decide if you should hold to that or not. And I think that's where it probably becomes more hairy legally because you asked for permission.
Right. And you weren't
Probably
granted it.
exactly. Probably easier. And I'm not saying I don't think it makes it illegal, but I think it muddies the waters a little bit if you go to them and you ask them versus if you just do it and then hope for the best. So, and I also think, and we've been talking about this with biopics, are we getting the real story
Right.
when other people are involved? Like sometimes having the story come from a third party helps in terms of the things that are not, for example, there was a few years ago, there was a mini-series, docu-series about the FBI director
Okay.
while during Trump's presidency. It was
Okay.
called Comey Rule. Now, I'm not saying everything that was in Comey Rule was completely accurate because we know when you're watching a drama, they dramatize it. So everything might not be correct. However, we probably got a more accurate depiction of what happened from the perspectives of the people who were involved versus if they spoke to Trump and asked Trump what happened.
I got you.
So sometimes it benefits us as the audience in terms of getting an accurate story. But that also takes a lot of work and a lot of involvement with maybe parties that were around the person
Right.
rather than, maybe that person directly. So it's a
Yeah,
catch
like
20.
in the Whitney doc, you could see who, not the Whitney doc, in the Whitney biopic, you can see who was involved and how their relationship was with her.
Right. Exactly. So, and it all comes down to perspective too, because um, when you're talking about things like Whitney, or remember how we were talking about the Michael biopic that's coming out, if his family is involved, obviously they're going to want to paint him in the best light, but maybe the reality of the situation is he wasn't always the nicest guy, or he didn't always do the right thing. Then how do we get that part of the story?
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying that you always need to see bad things about somebody. I just think it's less about negative and more about authenticity.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole thing. We want the authentic version of whatever it is we're watching.
Yeah. So really really interesting. I'm curious to see what happens, though. I want to know if they have a case.
I guess we'll see because it doesn't seem like the lawyer's too worried or the creator in that story.
And again, if you are a drug lord, what is it that you? How do you paint a drug lord in a positive way? I just
Well,
don't
we don't know what the person did outside of that job, quote unquote. We
Uh
don't know. It could be a situation like Bumpy Johnson where they were doing a lot of good things for the
huh.
community, even though
Okay.
they were a quote unquote criminal. So,
Okay.
it depends on, I don't know her story. I can't really say, uh, this or that. I also didn't watch the show yet. Maybe I will.
I was gonna
But
ask you if you're gonna watch it.
maybe I was already thinking about it before I heard about the lawsuit, but I don't watch a lot of shows. So there's that. But
Hmm.
I didn't watch it either to be able to sit here and say, oh, they did this thing over here that they shouldn't have done that. Or they highlighted this part of her life too much. I don't know her story and I didn't see it. So
Hmm.
I can't really comment on that part.
Okay, makes sense. I've been considering watching it too. I'm not really. This might be a controversial opinion. I'm not really that into drug shows.
It's not controversial. We all have our preferences.
I feel like everybody loves The Wire. Everybody loves Snowfall. Like those, it's always the drug shows that people like the masses love. It's not really my cup of tea.
It's interesting you say that. This is an argument for another time, but The Wire is not really a drug show. It's a cop
It's
show.
it's a cop show, which I love, which is why. And I watched The Wire way too late to even be a part of the conversation. But I really only watched The Wire 2 years ago. But it is a cop show, which is why I loved it so much.
Yeah,
But but when these stories about the drug trade, I don't particularly care. I actually like the angle of it being the perspective of the cops versus the people who are actually selling the drugs. I don't really care for that too much. So
got it.
that's why I was like, it looks interesting. It looks really interesting. So I would watch it just on the strength of, oh, this looks like this could be interesting. And I try to be open minded about television, but not really my cup of tea. So I'm not sure yet, but I'll see. Maybe one day, I'll just be hanging out and turn it
And
on.
throw it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. So we covered yesterday how Killer Mike was arrested.
We did. At
And
the
at the Grammys, right?
Uh-huh.
And so Killer Mike has put out a statement. I'd just like to read that statement.
What did he
And
say?
this is via TMZ, by the way. Got to
Oh,
quote your sources nowadays because people like to say you made shit up. So,
who says you made something up?
oh, the internet. They love to say you just be making, people just make stuff up, You must not read the news. You must not watch any TV, all of those things.
I
So
do.
I
I
like to,
do. Oh, sorry.
no, go.
I was gonna say I do agree that we should cite our sources, but
Yeah.
make make things up.
That's what they say. If they didn't hear about it or they don't agree, they just say you just making shit up now. So, you know. So the quote is, quote, as you can imagine, there was a lot going on. They forgot the word on. And there was some confusion around which door my team and I should enter. We experienced an overzealous security guard, but my team and I have the utmost confidence that I will ultimately be cleared of all wrongdoing. Until that time, keep listening to Michael and keep going after your dreams.
Live your dreams. It's not as hard as it may seem. You gotta work to get the cream.
Yep. Yeah,
Hmm.
you do. What you think about that statement? Shrug.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I feel like he's been evading what really happened, and he said that a security guard was overzealous. What does that mean? I just kind of feel like just handle it privately. I don't
It was
fault.
too public to handle it privately.
Yeah, but I don't fault him for what for the way things happen, right? And we talked about that last night. But he clearly doesn't want to discuss it because he's not giving a lot of details, and that's his right. I'm not saying that we should get a lot of details. I just don't know what I'm supposed to make of that statement.
I think it's pretty clear that there was, well, he was arrested for a physical altercation at the Grammys.
And up to now, no one has told us what a physical altercation means. Because a
But
physical altercation could
we
be
know it was
a little
misdemeanor
dust up.
battery.
It could be he snuffed him. You know, it could be he shoulder checked him. Like what happened? What are we talking about here? What's on the table?
Well, what we know is it's misdemeanor battery. So not much happened is what happened. But is
Right.
he saying and we experienced an overzealous security guard? I think we've all had experiences with security guards ODing.
Acting an actual ass.
Right. And so that seemed to be what happened. I think I think saying an overzealous security guard paints a pretty clear picture. And then he said, as you can imagine, there was some confusion about which door we were supposed to go through. So I'm gonna I'm gonna guess here that the security guard saw them going through door A instead of door B and decided to put hands on people, and hands were placed back on said security guard. That's
Okay.
what that tells me. That is my perception of the statement.
Okay.
So,
What do you think about it?
oh, I think I said enough yesterday. Oh, about the statement itself. I'm glad he's giving us a little bit of clarity while playing it safe, which clearly is what he's doing. Yeah, play it safe. Don't say anything that's going to get you in more legal troubles.
Of
This
course.
is a misdemeanor charge. Even if he has to eat the charge, we know it's not going to be anything crazy. So, yeah, but I do think it is smart to say something publicly. I mean, he knows based on what happened yesterday morning that people are going to be asking him about the incident. And you
Right.
can't just keep saying, "Oh, nothing happened. We partied all night. I had a great time. Didn't I look good? You saw my suit? Didn't my suit look
Right.
good?"
'Cause that was kind of corny, but
You can't just keep saying that. So putting out a public statement, I think, was a wise way to address it. But I also don't blame him for waiting a day to put out a public statement.
Oh, of course. I think you take your time with those things because some people, go into their notes app on their phone and they make their own little statement that their lawyer nor publicist had anything to
Nobody,
do
yeah.
with. And it
And
is
just tweet it
clear.
out to the world.
It's always clear when they do it and they send it out to everyone and it's like, wait, no, no,
Right.
someone you pay should have written this,
Right.
not you.
Or at least checked it.
Nah, because some of them shouldn't be even. They shouldn't even be writing the first draft.
I don't blame
Some
you.
of them. Have you seen some of those statements that come out?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
They shouldn't even write the first draft. No, you have people for that. You have people to write the drafts for you. Stay away from the notes app, please.
And the Twitter app.
Unless you write in rhymes.
And the Twitter
Please.
app.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Well, listen. I wish Killer Mike well. I know that this has overshadowed things as far as his win, but I hope that he is still enjoying himself and enjoying his win. So,
Same.
we'll leave it there.
We'll leave it there. Now, let's go uptown to the Bronx.
What she said, I can't even remember because I tried to do a little ditty. Um, uh, take me out the plastic because I'm acting brand new. That's a Latto line. I
I
think I
don't
said.
even know. I gotta take your word for it. I don't even
I,
know.
I gotta ask the kids. I don't know. I don't know the line exactly, but it's something like that. It's something about take me out the plastic. Maybe it's not take me, but it's something about getting out of the plastic because I'm acting brand new.
Okay.
I'm old.
Then maybe leave those quotes for the young people. Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, we have artwork for a record that is about to drop. We don't know when, but we have artwork, and there's a bunch of mugshots all over the background of the picture. And one of them is very clearly Ice Spice.
Where did this beef start?
And
Sorry, I'm just
furthermore,
anxious.
Latto has been seen in the Bronx recording a music video. And for those who don't know, the Bronx is where Ice Spice is from.
Yeah, they said she was in her neighborhood. Where is Lotto from?
According to her bio on Spotify, because I checked if the record came out, the record is allegedly called Sunday Service.
I like that. I like that. I feel like that gives some big energy. No pun intended.
I was gonna say I see what you did there.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Let me go back because I looked it up earlier, and I don't want to misquote. She's from Clayton County, Georgia.
Oh, she's from Georgia, so she have no business in the Bronx.
That's what it says here. Raised in Clayton County, Georgia, 23-year-old rising rapper Latto has been making a name for herself since she was 10. I'm leaving that there. I'm not reading the rest of her bio, but there you go.
No, you don't need to. I just wanted to make sure that she's not from the Bronx, and I didn't realize. I just wanted to confirm that she is someone who typically has no business in the Bronx, and I was correct.
Yeah.
I kind of like this energy though. As long as it stays in the music, I don't care. I like
I
this
don't know.
energy. I like how fired up everybody is right now.
It's
I
been a
like.
wild 2024 already, man.
Oh my
A lot
gosh.
of beef. And by a lot of beef, I don't even mean Drake's possibly viral video. I had to do it to you. I'm sorry. I had to do it. I
I
had to do it.
purposely didn't bring it up because I said you're gonna look at me like, "What are you doing?" I purposely did not bring it up because that would have been my question of the day. Did you see it?
I did not.
I didn't see it either. I
I
was
did not.
busy.
And I'm thankful. I'm thankful because I don't need to see that kind of beef. I like the beef we're currently talking about. Lotto versus Ice Spice, Lyrical Miracle versus Not So Much. And then Lyrical Miracle is not really true because Lotto is versatile. But that's the kind of beef I'm here to talk about. Not possibly unconfirmed masturbation videos.
Why are you doing Ice Spice like that? I caught what you said.
I was calling Lotto Lyrical Miracle, and then I took it back and said no, she's not.
Oh, but you said something about Lyrical Miracle and not
Not
so
so
lyrical.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were
not so
talking
much.
about Ice Spice. You weren't
Right. Yeah, not
right.
so much. You think Ice Spice is very lyrical? Okay, so then why are you trying to call me out then?
Because you did it real quick and then and then moved on from it like
Why
you
you
didn't say it.
see what kind of co-host I got? I don't even got nobody here to look around and call in on this. But y'all
Listen,
listening and watching, thank you for doing so. But y'all see what I'm doing? I got to deal with. I try to get my shit off real quick. They're gonna call me to the carpet. Ice Spice doesn't make very lyrical records, and that's fine. We don't look to her for lyrical records. We look for her. Yes,
and the white lady that everybody's mad at says she be listening to her when she gets ready to perform.
that's what she said. Yes, the Great White Hope said that.
That great white hope. Yeah, I saw that. I said, "Oh, really? Okay. You didn't gain any points from us for that."
Hey, but
I
who
like
knows? Maybe
Ice
that's gonna
Spice.
help Ice Spice get some
Oh
love.
yeah, and that's exactly what I said. I said I hope that Ice Spice benefits from it, but I like. Let me be clear. I like Ice Spice. I know we joking around or whatever, but I do like Ice Spice. I feel like she is her own person. Like she's her own entity. She's
Yeah, I
different.
think
Like
she
she
makes
has her
authentic
own
records,
right.
and that's always good.
Yeah, and I think she's doing her Ice Spice thing. I think like she's kind of on a playing field on her own in terms
Yeah.
of like some of the things that she does. I think she's unique in that way. But But yeah, because she's a baddie and she's showing her panties.
And that's the type of music she makes. She
Yeah.
makes ratchet bops for the peoples. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's her lane. We don't diss Sexy Red for doing this something
No,
similar. So I mean, it's
people
not
do,
exactly
but
the same, but it's similar. And we
similar.
don't diss Sexy Red. So I'm not dissing Ice Spice. I'm simply saying,
It's
you
not.
know, I'm saying it's not an even playing field. Lotto
No, it's not.
has a couple more tricks in her bag.
Yeah. And so you are Team Lotto, is what you're
Oh,
saying.
absolutely. Yeah. I think it's over for Ice Spice as far as this battle goes. I don't know. I don't think she's going anywhere as far as us seeing Ice Spice or hearing
Yeah.
Ice Spice. Ice Spice clearly has a 360 deal. She
Mhm.
clearly has contractual obligations with multiple big players. You don't
Mhm.
just get a Dunkin' Donuts drink and then get on the Barbie soundtrack a
Right.
year into your career
Right.
or whatever, a year into your public career. Because I don't know how long Ice Spice was doing things before we heard of her. But Munch came out, what, a year ago? If that? I mean, let's just say 2 years to be nice. I don't know too many people that 2 years into their career, public career, are on the big single for the Barbie movie, which is like the movie of last year, besides Oppenheimer, and are getting like big looks from Dunkin' Donuts. Like, that's not regular. So that's clearly a 360 deal. And
Yeah.
clearly she's getting a big push from her label, which is a great thing. That's a beautiful thing for a fellow New Yorker. But if we're just talking about the music and the battle, the Lotto's going to wash the floor with her.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But I do, like I said, I do love the energy right now. I like that,
Big
people
energy.
are energized and excited about, duking it out, and I love that. I love to see that. Just as long as
Same.
it stays, I keep saying, just as long as the feud stays in the music,
Yeah.
because what I will say, showing up to somebody's neighborhood, I'm from Brooklyn. You're from Brooklyn. Ice Spice is from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Showing up to somebody's neighborhood, you asking for something when you show up to somebody's neighborhood. Because
Yeah.
again, Lotto don't have no business in the Bronx. That is clear.
You don't know who she know out there now.
Lotto from Atlanta?
Yeah.
No.
She in
From
the industry
Georgia?
now. She
Nah,
got
nah, nah.
Mariah Carey on the remix. You don't know who she know. Maybe she went to go visit Medium Joe.
She was shooting a music video in
And
Ice
maybe Jopra's gonna be in the
neighborhood.
video. Jopra. That's what he calls himself now. Fat Joe.
Joe, I don't want to talk about Jopra. So
That's what he calls himself, Jopra.
he gets on my nerves. I don't even know why you're bringing him
Because
up.
he's from the Bronx.
Sure, he's from the Bronx, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Somebody shows up. Somebody shows up in your hood. Are they not challenging you?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's why I say let's keep it in the music, because that could have went left. I'm
Yes, it
sure
can.
it looked like she had all of the SUVs, so I'm sure
Yes,
I'm
she did.
sure that she was well protected, but I'm sure that she knew that she needed to be well protected to be over there, because they will run up on you.
Absolutely.
Now, who they is,
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, I don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
And
But
and like you, I don't want it to happen.
right, exactly, and that's the only reason why I say, because I just feel like we know what it is.
But I will say, I don't know how many times you could show up to somebody's hood and cross the line and it not leave the music.
Exactly, exactly, and that's why I'm like, that's cute, but I don't know if I would have went to her neighborhood. I maybe would have just went to New York. You know, I don't know that I would have went all the way to the Bronx. I think I like I said, energy. I like what's happening. I like that, you know, people are thinking creatively and you know, and leveraging this moment. But nah, I'm a little nervous. I gotta be honest. When you sent me that video, I was a little nervous because I said the last thing we need is to hear that Latto was in the Bronx and
In a
somebody ran up
physical
on Latto.
altercation.
Right. Because it doesn't have to be Ice Spice for it to happen. Again,
Absolutely true.
I don't know who, like you said, we don't know who they are,
We don't know who
but
they is. We
they,
never know who they is.
oh, but they will show up.
Yes, this is
That's the
true.
only thing we do know.
Yes, this
So,
is true.
yeah. But yeah,
All right.
so we'll see. I'm waiting for the song and the video. I'm excited for it.
Same. I cannot wait.
Ice Spice probably got her writers, you know, they in the lab right now. They are in the lab, okay?
On that note, ladies and gentlemen,
Uh huh.
this is Weeknights. We will see y'all tomorrow night.
Bye.